of his glass are waning.
In front of me, but not on my face. I still will have my glasses.
You will still have your glasses, that's right. And the prescription, as you've described it, and as you can see visually,
THICCCCC.
so strong that that's why I didn't really push for a window in your producer booth in the new studios downtown, is because I figured there was a high probability you would just be able to see through the wall into our studio unhindered. But now I'm being told, what's that? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm being told by our engineers that is not the case, and that I should have told them I wanted a window in there. But it's going to be fine. It's funny, I was riding the elevator this morning with one of the sales managers, and we were just kind of chatting about the new studios, and he's like, so what's the launch date? And I go, launch date? We might be down there for the 4th of July.
June, question mark?
I don't know. I said I was in my own head about it for a while because I was excited. It's still exciting, but, you know, and I know they try to keep everybody, they try to maintain that level of excitement by sending update emails and photos every so often. But when that can, through no fault of anyone's locally, it just is what it is. That those kinds of projects take a lot longer than you think. So I just even stopped thinking about it. I think they are doing this in other markets, by the way, before us. And so my glass half full take on it is, by the time we're all set up, our engineers will have learned a lot about what not to do based on what other markets, what bugs they've had to work out, like Dayton, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, all preceding us. I've been talking to friends of mine back in my old cluster in Pittsburgh, and there's like, well, there's this, there's this, and this, and this. I'm making mental notes. I'm like, okay, don't do that in our studios. Don't do this. You know, just things that other people in other markets have complained about. So I think we will benefit from whatever bugs they've worked out in these other studios.
It's like your second marriage. You learn a lot from the mistakes of the first one. So you're like, well, let's try again, and we'll figure this one out.
You mean my second marriage or a second marriage?
Well, probably yours, too.
I'd like to think that I learned my two wives couldn't be more different. So I don't know. You know, you hopefully learn about yourself.
That's what I meant.
Yes, you want to learn things about yourself, but you also have to learn things about, because who you are is going to take different forms, as I see it, based on who you're interacting with, right? You are probably,
a certain degree,
I mean, there's core values there, but I mean, you know, you are probably a certain different person with your current boyfriend than you were with your exes.
Well, I'm not drinking now, but like, I don't swear as much around my religious family members. Like that? Do you mean like that? Like where you were be more reserved around certain people than others?
No, I'm talking about exes. I'm talking about people with whom you have an intimate relationship. I mean, you know.
I mean, other than the drinking.
Why would your religious family care about cursing?
Because it's against the Bible.
It's not. Taking the Lord's name in vain is against the Bible.
Well, you're not supposed to curse.
Vulgarity is not a sin.
Whatever it is, they don't like it, and they ask that we don't use that language around
because you never hear religious people. Listen, I watch The Righteous Gemstones. It's this documentary on HBO Max. Boy, they are hurling the expletives fast and furious. No, that's a common misnomer, and I would think that religious people, as much as they like to quote the Bible, would know this, that it's only a sin to take the Lord's name in vain.
Maybe it's not
right
that
there in the Big Ten. It's got nothing to do with vulgarity. You can say sea sucker all day long around your religious family. You just can't say God damn it or Jesus Christ.
Well,
that's the only thing that my mom didn't like.
It makes them uncomfortable, and they have asked me not to.
Yeah,
my mom's the same way.
I guess that's a fair reason to not do it.
Because they said, please don't.
Yeah. But that's a legit reason. If they're like, it's a sin, it's not.
I assumed it makes them uncomfortable because of religious reasons. Like, both of my brothers say frick, or they'll...
And that's totally fine.
Flick you off with their ring finger.
But I am fascinated by the ways that people...
Just say that word.
No. I mean, you can say whatever you want. There are plenty of people who don't care to talk like that, and that's perfectly legitimate. You don't need to talk like that. But it is always amazing to me how some people will censor themselves verbally, but all kinds of other weird stuff they're totally down with. So, frick that's fine.
Yeah.
What's the matter with frick? That's what, like you say when you're a kid. because you're not supposed to
Well,
curse.
it
It's
does-
still a little forbidden, and then, when you kind of slip it in here and there, you get around your friends, you get a little bit older, you'll start really flinging the expletives. But some people don't get past that, and that's completely fine. There's
Yeah.
nothing saying that people have to.
You don't have to be, use vulgarity.
I
or
wish
whatever.
that I didn't curse as much as I do, For a long time, there was that whole cliche about it's a sign of a poor vocabulary. It is absolutely not the sign
Just
of
like
a poor
the way it
vocabulary.
sounds.
Absolutely, of course. I have a great
Gets my
vocabulary.
point across.
Talk like a sailor. I love it. But
That's what my mom
for people
always-
who don't want to do it, that's perfectly legitimate.
My mom always said that. It's like, oh, it's a sign of, like a poor vocabulary. But it's like, but they just work so much better than other words sometimes. Like, I can turn it off and turn it on when I need to, but sometimes the actual word is so much better than a frick. Or in the Philippines, all the missionaries developed their own swear words because we weren't supposed to be swearing. So you say
Like
things
argle-bargle?
like fetch instead of the F word.
So you guys are trying to make fetch happen in the Philippines?
They were.
Oh, listen, it was happening in the Philippines, and this is long before the Mean Girls movie, so it was going down with the fetch.
So why not just whip out curse words? It was just you and your mission. I mean, you guys
Because
are all...
the missionaries aren't supposed
know
to be
what it
doing
is?
that.
I
It's to
think this
be
is what
more
it is.
pure and
Christ-like. You should live in a
Christ-like, yeah.
Christ-like manner,
Yeah.
and Jesus wasn't F
We
this,
don't.
F that.
We don't know that. We don't know how. There's
Well-
a huge gap. You know what? That's why.
their idea of what Christ is.
Well, that varies wildly.
Well,
What
exactly.
I'm saying is that's why teenage Jesus is not in the Bible, because that's
you, Dad.
that's where all that stuff would have happened. You get him as a kid, you get him as a man. That was not accidental. It was purely by design that they cut all that out because they were like, look, this isn't going to fit with everything else.
Maybe.
The angsty Jesus, that
Yeah.
stuff's all missing for good reason. They didn't want him walking around saying frick to the Pharisees. Who wants that?
You guys can frick off.
Boy, it just doesn't have the...
No,
It just doesn't.
No.
I said, my brothers will still flick people off with their ring finger. So they'll look at you and put their ring finger up when they're mad. And I'm like,
Really?
It's the funniest thing in the world to me.
I mean, the middle finger has a historical context. I
Like,
mean,
you're 40, dude.
again, but do what you want to do. I mean,
So they're like
It's
this?
funny to me. Yes. My grown man brothers will flick you off with the middle finger.
the ring finger. Yeah.
It cracks me up every single time.
but isn't the intent the more important part?
that they do it in like a joking manner.
I know,
It'd
but
be
it's
like
still-
if you're joking with them back and forth, or you hit them with a roast or whatever, and then they'll do that, and it just is like you just.
Listen, if you hit me
You
with a
just
roast,
lost.
you're getting both middle fingers and all the other fingers too.
You're wasting a roast.
I wish I had my book of Shakespearean insults in here, because that's a great book too. Just old timey things you can call
Slang,
people
yeah.
insults. You are not so much brain as earwax. See, that's a good one to just roll at somebody and they go, what? Like as you're walking away, you mountain of mad flesh. And they go, what? Doesn't require any digits in their face.
Yeah, but
Nothing. Thou art a boil, a plague sore. Just along, you're a beef-witted execrable wretch. That's beef-witted.
Yeah, execrable.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So you leave people scratching their heads, knowing that they were insulted, but they really can't put it together.
Where it's like, should I be mad? Should that have upset
I'm more
me?
confused.
Right. If I call Poundcake a cream-faced loon, he's confused. He doesn't understand it, and rightly so.
Regardless, I'm just calling the NAACP.
Because I called you cream-faced?
Yep.
Ha. I think they're going to go, I think you've called the wrong organization. We are the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, not cream people. They're going to go, we don't know what that organization is, but you're going to have to call them. They're probably down the street. You
Dairy
probably call-
farmers.
Dairy farmers.
They're the cream people.
Sir, do you have 90 head of cattle out there? Because otherwise we're going to need you to call a different organization. Right?
Yeah. There you go.
Hey, you nailed it.
Basically, we're going to learn from Pittsburgh opening before we do. That's how we...
Dayton, Cincy, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people, sure, yeah. Now, here's what you guys want to do, all right? You want to make sure that everything's plugged in, and then your monitors will come up, and you'll be looking at it like, oh my God, look at all this.
Did you turn your microphone
Why'd
on?
they do that? Oh, where'd they start this?
Where should I eat this sandwich? I got it from some brothers. Should I eat that in the studio?
What sandwich?
It's got Cap Koenig.
No, you mean the McDonald's brothers?
No,
they got a lot of locations.
No, it starts with like
they're not brothers.
I think it's a P.
How'd I know you're talking about? It's all made up. All right, listen, I've got to take a break. If you'd like to get a text for anything, 35192. It's quickly done there. If you want to join us live, 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007. Next chance for you to grab some money is coming up about 20 minutes away. Another keyword for you to grab $1,000 and go fund yourself.
It's the Alan Cox